Hello and welcome to Podiatry Practice Mastery. My name is Don Pelto, and I have the privilege of talking to Waqas today, who is a kind of a practice management guru specialist. Welcome to the show.
Great. Thank you, Don. Thanks for inviting me on the show. It's great to be here.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So tell me a little bit. I know you work with dentists, other healthcare providers, and they all kind of have the same similar issues. Go back kind of in the beginning. How did you get interested in helping this kind of niche out in their practices?
Yeah, well, my background is I have an undergrad in basically bioethics from Cornell. I've got a master's in healthcare administration. I was a regional manager for Kaiser Permanente, which is on the medical side. We had 500,000 patients, and I was in charge of the ophthalmology piece. So it was very exciting and challenging. Then I got recruited to be a regional manager for a dental chain, and did great turning that around. And then all these doctors started calling me and asking me for help. And I said, well, I work for a company. And then I kind of got inspired to kind of branch out on my own. And my mentor at the time, she actually was working with a podiatrist. And so a lot of the things that I learned was coming out of the podiatry field. And, that was like 15 years ago. She has since retired, but she was very helpful in getting me going in terms of like systems and processes and different things like that. And so it's been very, very good, because now I say, like, I like to take things that are at the large chains and the multi-billion-dollar companies, and we can implement those systems, for the, smaller mom and pop shops, the smaller doctors, not that in a negative way, but, they're not running billion-dollar organizations. And so we're able to take those processes and then help, private practitioners grow their practices.
That's awesome. And so specifically, I was hoping we could talk a little bit today about what's the future of practice management, and then how does that involve artificial intelligence? We've all heard about AI. I don't know if we're using it in our practices, and you've some doctors. So tell us what that kind of looks like. What do you see 3 or 5 or 10 years from now? What it would be like?
Well, what's interesting is you probably are interacting with AI and you don't even know it. Like when you go to certain websites and it says, "Can I help you?" and you click on it, that's artificial intelligence bots. When you call, your phone provider, or you call some people, sometimes it'll say, "Tell me what you want." Like if you call your cable company, it's like, "Tell me what you want." That's artificial intelligence. So it's actually slowly permeating through society. Now, in terms of what we do on a practice level, there's a ton of things that we're doing right now. We're actually, as I looked around, we're kind of on the cutting edge in terms of implementing it on the operations side as well as on the marketing side. And what I can do is I actually pulled up some of the things that we're doing. And let me just share my screen with you, and I can show you,
Perfect.
what's going on. Here we go. So this is one of our softwares. This has HIPAA protection on, so you can't see the patient information other than general, but over here, we can look at, we can look at production. We can see, yesterday they did 17,000. Today they only have 8,000 scheduled. Tomorrow they're 16,000. This is a dashboard, and it tells you a lot of things. But what is very interesting is on the, over here, we can do query our database. So we've linked in with whatever, software they're using, and we can look at it and we say, look, there's 3,500 active patients with unscheduled treatment with insurance that don't have an appointment, right? And we're like, now this is a dentist. So they've got cleaning, patients who need cleanings. They've got almost 5,000 patients that are due for cleanings, right? And that's a lot. We have unscheduled treatment, broken appointments, and we can query databases. But what's really cool is you can look at the schedule. See, again, it's blocked out for HIPAA, but I can look at the schedule, and today, say we have, obviously it's past 11, but like say this is an opening, we say, wow, we have an opening right here. How are we going to fill the the schedule? Normally, your staff says, oh my gosh, who can we call? Let me look on let me look at my system. Let me think, Miss Smith wanted an appointment, or let me call somebody. Well, what we can do is, using artificial intelligence, we pick the provider, say it's a dentist, and what it does, it says it will go through all of your patients and pick the most likely patient to make that appointment based on reimbursement rates, right? Like, are we going to get paid, and how much are we going to get paid? Do they owe us money? How much treatment is not scheduled? You know, if someone has $10 treatment versus someone's got a $10,000 treatment plan unscheduled, well, let's call the guy with a $10,000 treatment plan. And we know that they usually accept treatment because we track their treatment plan acceptance rates. You know, are they likely to show up? Well, they've got, you know, 98% show rate. Okay, so if we make an appointment, that patient is going to show up. And guess what? It's a Thursday. They like to come on Thursdays. So let's put them at the top of the list. And this tells you how closely it matches. Now, again, you can't see this, but like in the practice, you can see the patient's name. You can see all kinds of stuff. We can see, okay, here they have a $6,000 treatment plan. They only have 123, and not too great, but we need to get them in. Here would be your clinical notes, which again, you know, HIPAA, you can't see it. We can call them. We can email them. Right out of our system, or if you click here, it'll show their phone number. You just pick up the phone and call them. And this is a female. We could try someone else. If they have family members, it will tell you, you know, this person has $2,200 left on their insurance and they have $1,000 treatment plan. Is this someone we want to come in? Absolutely. Right? Hey, buddy, and the way in for dental, like if they don't use it, it's going to go away at the end of the year. So it's use it or lose it. Buddy, you know, there's 1,000 out, you got 2,000. I'm sure we could find something else. If we click on it, oh, this will tell you. Okay, so it'll tell you their treatment plan. They've got basically it's ortho, it's braces. We're gonna make retainers for them for upper and lower retainers. It's $990. So, but I'm sure if we looked at their you know, which you can't see here, but if we looked at their treatment plan and their clinical notes, they might need some other stuff, you know.
So is this an actual EMR, or is this a side an EMR?
It's something that lays on top of the EMR. So and we built custom dashboards so we can see we can see the performance of the practice. Like we can see, like right here, you know, so far they got 3 new patients, which is really low, but they lost 9 patients, right? They had 38 visits. 35 of them made another appointment. 3 of the hygiene patients were not reappointed. They had 131 scheduled, 2 canceled. 1 of those were not rescheduled. Same thing, no shows. We have 1 unscheduled. So if you start adding up 3, 4, 5, you know, we lost 5 patients, and that's just for the week. Like if I look at it for the month, this tells you that we've had 16 new patients in. And we've actually lost 40 patients. We have 18 that came in for cleanings that never got scheduled for their next appointment, which I'm sure on podiatry you have, you know, recurring visits. We have 5 cancellations that were not scheduled. We have 10 no-shows that never got scheduled. You know, like that's 33 patients right there, right? So even though you're like, whoa, we got 16 new patients, we're like, oh, wait a minute, we actually lost 33 patients. We're at negative. Right? So this is why your practice is not growing, because you're losing patients faster than they're coming in. And when people come to me and they're like, oh, we need new patients, we need marketing. Well, buddy, if we send you more new patients, you got a leaky ship. You're losing patients because your staff are not making appointments on the way out. Right now, you're at 84%, you know,
now,
of reappointments.
Is this now? I use Athena. So can this be overlaid Athena and other EMR types of things like that?
Yeah, Athena Health, we can build connections with that. We've already built them out for like the top 5 on the dental industry side. It does not link with Epic right now on the medical side, but Athena Health, I'm familiar with them. I've worked with one of their companies before. We could definitely build an
like
interface.
an API integration where it pulls.
Yeah, we would. Exactly. We would do an API integration. Our developers, we got like 20 developers, and they can knock this out like fairly, you know, I can't say fairly quickly, but you know, at the speed that IT works. So, but they can definitely do it. But we can also look at, like, say, treatment plans. Like they presented 12,000 and 7,000 was accepted. You know, here they presented 178,000 on the doctor side, 51,000 was accepted. That's a 29% acceptance rate.
That's low.
Yeah. So, and we can look at it by provider, right? Like, again, some of this stuff you can't see because it's, you know, but we can look at like patients. We can see what was presented, what was scheduled. Why was it not? Like here, there 12,000 was scheduled, was presented, not scheduled. Or like, what happened? Here's all of the procedure codes, and here's what happened. So we can go back. as a clinician and say, hey, what happened with this patient? Like, hey, this $2,200, like they should have done that. Like, why did they not do that? They needed a crown. It tells you right there. Here, like this is $597. Like what's going on? There's just a few fillings probably. Yeah, just a few fillings. Like they scheduled 2 of them. Okay. They didn't schedule this. Occlusal guard. Okay. So again, so this gives you full insight into everything that's going on in your practice. Like I said, this part is not the artificial intelligence. This is just numbers and pulling data in. But you can look at it for last month. You can look at it, every day, how many
And
visits
so
you
let's
have.
let's say you have this, because I get a little overwhelmed. It's kind of like looking at the stock market every day.
Yeah. No, you don't need to look at it. You don't need to look at that. Here's all you need to look at. Here's what we're gonna say. Yesterday you saw 26 patients. You saw a new patient. You did 17,000, which was above goal. Yay! But there's 4 patients that were not rescheduled. So you click on it. You say, "Listen, front desk girls, call these patients right now. Like as soon as we're done with our morning huddle,
that's easier to deal with. Okay, cool.
just call them."
That's awesome.
Like that's all you need to do. Like you don't have to worry about anything else. And also it'll say other things down here if that needs to happen. Like today.
Is this what
Okay.
everyone's doing? Like, I don't know how dental is, but I've never seen something like this in podiatry. It just doesn't exist.
Most people are not doing this in dental anywhere. Like, again, wait till I show you the second half of this. Like, this is just the operations piece. But like for today, for this practice, they have 17 patients. They've scheduled 8,800, but there's 4 unscheduled family members of those patients. And here's who they are. This is a male, you're his wife. And again, it's HIPAA, so I'm guessing that's their son. They don't have appointments, and these are for cleaning appointments. So like everyone should have a cleaning appointment, right? So we write it on the routing slip in the morning, like, hey, Joe's wife doesn't have an appointment. Make sure when Joe's here that we say, hey, we need to schedule your wife and your son. You don't need to mark it. You got 4 appointments right there and 4 unscheduled hygiene. Here's 4 more patients. You got 8 patients. We have a treatment plan. Let's schedule them. And we've got all of this stuff that
everyone can rally together, the hygienist and then the doctor. They can all just hit the same button, basically. Hey, did you know? Did you know? Okay, that's awesome. I didn't know this existed. This is cool.
Yeah, and you can see their family. And then so all we have them do right now is just say, listen, we just want to plug the holes. Get these 4 people scheduled. Get these 4 people scheduled. That's 8 more appointments in your day for doing. We didn't spend anything on Google. We didn't spend anything on Facebook. We didn't have to look at any fancy dashboards. Like I look at dashboards, but all you have to do is click here, make some phone call. And you can click and it'll dial out of the system, or you can just pick up the phone and call them. And that part is fabulous. And then from there, what we do is we will go to Patient Finder. Say now you're like, okay, we're doing great. What do we do next? Okay, well, guess what? We got 3,500 patients with unscheduled treatment. Oh my God. What are we going to do with these guys? Here's the 3,500 patients. Again, HIPAA, but what we can do, it has everything on here. We can do by unscheduled treatment. We'll just sort it by unscheduled treatment. Sort it the other way. So this patient has $77,000 of treatment unscheduled. So these guys, we're just going to call them, right? Because there's a lot of these big cases
largest
up
check
here.
First. Perfect.
We're going to call these patients. The next thing we're going to do is right here. We're going to export it, right? And we're going to export it. And what we're going to do is we're going to import it into our marketing platform. And our marketing and actually they're going to connect the two, but it's 2 steps. You export it and then you import it. So, and we can develop a workflow where we are now going to be calling and messaging and voicemail sending these patients to come in for an appointment, right? They're going to get a message. Hi, it looks like it's been a while since you've had your cleaning. Blah, 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 blah. Click this. That's our appointment page. You click on it. It'll give you a free teeth whitening. Plus, it will make an appointment in our clinic. You're like, okay. Then we wait a day. Again, this is all customizable. And then they get an email like, hello, it's been a while. We haven't seen you. And it'll come from whatever email you want to send it from, like office, office manager at podiatry.com, whatever. Hey, it looks like it's been a while, click here now. And we have copywriters. So we'll tweak these. We make them look nice. We can send
similar
test
to like an
emails
infusion soft, it looks like.
Yeah, and then we wait and we send another text, another email. Now the best part is this voicemail. Like I don't think you'll be able to hear this. Yeah, you can hear it. Okay. We can record voicemails and call their phone and it'll ring from your office number and it'll go straight to voicemail. And, or like after one ring. And so what happens is if they call back, it'll ring in the office. But if they check their voicemail, it'll say, "Hi, this is Dr. Don calling you.
That's
I really
awesome.
miss you. You need to come in for your appointment. We really need to take a look at your foot. Like, we need your annual diabetic exam, whatever it is." And it looks like you've personally called them because you have, except 3,500 patients are going to get the same voicemail from you, right? And there's no way you can physically call 3,500 people.
That's awesome.
There's no way. Obviously, we don't do it all on the same day because that would blow up your phones. But we do 100 a day. We'll send out 100 messages. Then the next day we pick the next 100 patients. So this will run for like a month or two, and this will just keep going. Email, calls, voicemail 1, voicemail 2, emails, text messages, and they can text back, and it all shows up here on our system, right? And we do the same thing for collections. They owe us money. We put them on a collections funnel. We put a "Pay Us Now" button on our website, and we're like, "Hey, buddy, you owe us money," and then they start writing back like, "Oh, I didn't know I owed money. How much is it? Oh, it's $300. How do you want to pay for it? Oh, click this link and just put in your credit card information and you pay the bill and we send them
That's
a
awesome.
receipt." So this is what we're doing with like this is artificial intelligence. It gets way more complicated than this, but this is like a straight down funnel.
Because then you go into like a mailers and postcards and everything else you can add into those.
Yeah, we do all that stuff. We can do handwritten posts. It looks like they're handwritten postcards. They're not actually.
Who's the do you guys have your own printer, or do you outsource it through something like, oh,
I mean, there's different, we just let people, that we don't want to get involved in that. So we let people use whatever print shop they
third-party
want.
vendors? Okay.
Yeah, like there's a lot of different, postcard printing stuff. We'll do every door direct mail through the post office. We help them sort that out because then you can send out 5,000 postcards for $800 instead of $3,000, right? And it's the same effectiveness. It's just, the office has to spend like an hour prepping them and picking your zip codes, but you can target which zip code you want to send it to. I don't know. Are you familiar with the post office EDDM?
I am. That's where you have to
Yeah.
verify the addresses. Is they're perfect according to their list, right? And then you can send it for less. Is that right?
Yeah, like what happens is you go on it's a U.S. government post office, a U.S. post office. They have a website, it's USPS-EDDM.
Pick what region you want to send them to.
And it tells you all the demographics, household income, number of people per income. You can pick and choose. You click on the different things, and you just go to town. And then you print out the labels, put it on your postcard, and then groups of postcards, and then you're off.
And this is if you've already. So I just want to clarify to everyone, because I know you've said this, but many of us want to start at this phase, but it's probably more important to close the holes in your bucket first. And this is like
Absolutely.
phase 2. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like a lot of my clients, they come to me and they're like, "Oh, I just need new patients. If I had more patients, my life would be great." And I'm like, well, it's probably not your new patients, but let's look at it. And we find all the holes in their system. We normally don't spend any money till about 6 months in on marketing because are your staff correct? We have a recruiter. She's great. We're recruiting in 6 different states right now, staff. But do you have the right staff? Okay, if you don't have the right staff, it doesn't matter how much money we spend on marketing because they're going to answer the phone incorrectly and just blow patients away. Like I've seen walk-ins get blown off by a front desk person. I'm like, why would you do that? How often do you get a walk-in? Like never, right? Like how often you get a walk-in like in the last year? Like it never happens, right? No one just walked in like, "Oh, I want to see you." So, if you have the wrong person at the front, it doesn't matter how much you spend. So you got to clean up your staff, get them all working on the right thing, clean up the holes, make sure that you're maximizing your revenue from your existing patients or existing referral sources or marketing sources. Then we do internal marketing, which is the patients that I was showing you. We have 3,500 patients. 3,523 patients. We don't need to advertise. Like, let's just call these people. We've recovered patients from like 10 years previous. One time it was during Thanksgiving week. I walked in and the guy's like, "We're calling a 10-year-old list." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Well, it's Thanksgiving and I needed to give these guys some hours. So I have them sitting here calling." And they recovered like they scheduled 3 patients from a 10-year-old list in 3 to 4 hours. I mean, there's a lot of phone calls, but hey, they did it just to like do it. So once you exhaust all of this and all of our marketing and all of that stuff that we do, then I would say, yeah, now let's talk about Facebook, Google, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you want to do. Let's talk about that. But otherwise, you're just spending money. You're spending like $100 to $300 for patient acquisition costs versus like $5 or $10 to get any of these guys back. Yeah. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. I mean, I can get way more in depth in like all the different websites we can make and the funnels and stuff like that. But
I think this is great for our first one. I like it because it kind of involves direct response marketing. It involves copywriting. It involves filling the, doing the bucket stuff. You said there's an app that you have for office managers, or maybe the doctors want to look at it. What's that app? Or you talk
right. The app is in beta right now. If you go to my website, there you can go down. Okay. The best way to do it is called Dental PMA. Practice Management Associates, but it is in beta right now. What we have is a 8-week course for office managers on how to run the office. And each week, what we do is we go over different parts of the practice. I don't know if this won't expand.
Yeah.
But there's different parts like your management, your human resources, your marketing, your finances, like P&Ls, like they don't know what P&L even stands for. So you're like, what are we working for? Your operations, how to get Google reviews. I mean, we have clients with like hundreds of Google reviews just because like they're on it, they're out there.
You have to have a process. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like setting up some QR codes at the front, getting the scripting, one-line scripting for all the front desk people. Our Omni system, even we can set up one button push where anytime the patient's leaving, you put their name into the system, and 30 minutes later, they'll get a Google review request.
How did we do? Yep, perfect.
Yeah, now Google gives you more credibility if they leave you a review outside of your office, right? Because it's harder to get someone to leave a review when they're not in the office. So your Google credibility rating of that review is higher. So that's why we wait 30 minutes. We wait till they get home, and then we send them that link. Because if they do it in the office, it still counts, but Google doesn't count it as much, right?
Wow. Well, I think we covered a lot here in this first interview. I guess this is where they can learn more about you. You said it was PM.
Yeah, here's my website. They're welcome to come just contact me for a free consult if you want. We have a buying club where we have discount like supplies. It's mostly on the dental side right now, like supplies, credit card processing. We have a really, really low rate on. Everyone we've talked to, they're saving money on like $400 to $600 a month on credit card processing for the average like doctor's office. We do some other discounts. Again, things that the big guys do, the big chains can do. Like we've done it we've grouped together 100 offices, so we're able to get group discounts where normally an individual person can't.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Waqas. This is great. Everyone check him out, and put any questions you have underneath this interview. I'll put his links to the sites, and thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Don. It's great to meet you and chat with you, and I wish you well. And if you have any questions, just reach out to me.